Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Art of Braids podcast. I'm your host, Karen Tenard, and I'm excited about today's guest. We're talking about a topic I hear about all the time: how to market and gain sponsorship. And today's guest is Michelle Cadore, founder of the amazing brand Yes I Am Inc. and co-founder of The Spot NYC. And since today's topic is about how to market and gain sponsorship, who better to talk about it? I remember back in the days, I would put on a whole bunch of events, and for my nonprofit, it was a little bit easier because I had the 501(c)(3), and I would sell the crap out of my nonprofit. Like I'd be like, "This is what we do. This is what we," and people would be like, "Okay, great, I'll do sponsorship." But when I would ask somebody else, like event planner, to go ahead and speak on the behalf of the organization, they would always say they said no. And I'd be like, oh my God. And it's like, I really feel like if you don't understand the passion and purpose of the brand, like you can't sell it enough. So I would always be the one to be like, okay, yeah, I got this sponsorship. I got this. I'm able to market it because I created it. So I know why. I had the why behind it, and it just connected. And then 2021, I met Michelle, and just started slowly going by the shop. And then in 2022, just seeing all of the events, and I was like, oh, this is dope. It just was like so much happening, and different sponsorship that you were able to attain. And I just kind of, I think 2022 was my like I've learned over the years, but it was just really like hands-on learning, and go getting in where I fit in as far as like how can I help, and just add to the vision. But I won't make y'all wait any longer. Let's welcome Michelle. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. Your time, your expertise, and your brand means the world. And I'm excited to have you here. Yeah.
Aw, thank you.
But before we get started, I know you, but my listeners don't. So I would
Mhm.
want you to give a little backstory about who you are, because we all do have a story. So share your background and what it is you do in your businesses.
Yes. So thank you so much for having me today. I love you and
Love you too.
definitely has been such a great connection from 2021 and all the work that we've done thus far. Um I am Michelle Cadore, owner of Yes I Am Clothing, which is designed to inspire and empower, and The Spot NYC, which is a unique fashion boutique located in downtown Brooklyn, or retail space, as we say now, where we house 25 plus independent Black and PLC owned brands, including my own. We've housed over 85 to date. And I will give you a little backstory about how that started, right? I launched my brand in 2016. And the reason why I launched my brand was because, I was like a late bloomer. I went back to school 5 years later after first doing my first stint in college, Hofstra, then went back to CUNY. I wanted to study finance. Quickly found out that that was not my jush. That was not my, well, I love finance. I love the monies and numbers, but working in a cubicle all day was not for me. Crunching numbers, that wasn't for me. So while at Baruch College, I transferred into small business and entrepreneurship major just 2 months before graduation. And walked the graduation, came back, picked up 4 classes in summer, 6 classes in fall, still finished on time, and then landed my first job the following, I guess I finished in December, year of Hurricane Sandy, and I landed my first job. A great opportunity. I managed the Hurricane Sandy grant for a few months, and then was asked to be the on-the-job training program manager, where I would help fund New York City businesses with training grants so that they can hire New York City residents, and they'd get subsidized for whatever they paid them for those first 3 months. So that was a great program. And if you're a small business owner, you know that there aren't many opportunities like that, or there weren't back then. Anywho, I did that for a time frame. And I wanted to move up in my career, but I realized that there was a glass ceiling. above me. And so I decided I should just like start my own brand. And I decided to start a clothing brand called Yes I Am, because I am are the two most powerful words, for what you put after them shapes your reality. So the idea was to create pieces. I really didn't think fashion at first. I really was like, I just want to create something to help other people feel inspired and empowered, including myself, because I was at a very low point, right? And then I was like, I'll put it on pillows. And I was like, no, 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 I'll put it on clothing, right? And through the power of my network, I tapped into our friend Victoria Coker, who owns Black Web Fest. Shout out to Vicky.
Yay.
And she was like, I know a brother who is a fashion designer. And she connected me to Francie Face, or Face of Francie Face Clothing. And I told him, you're going to be my mentor, after we met. And he took me under his wing, taught me the ropes and helped me launch my first line, pushed me out of the nest and was like, go fly bird, like figure it, like do it. And I did my first pop-up. And I remember there was a stranger sale. This lady bought 5 shirts, $25 a piece. She did not know me from a can of pen. What is it? A can of paint. Didn't know me like from anything. And I was like, ooh, stranger sale. Like she didn't know me anything. She bought my stuff. So I'm onto something. And then Face and I started dreaming about opening up our own shop just 2 months later. And we were trying to figure out like where would we open it? Flatbush, downtown Brooklyn. And he goes Dumbo, and I'm like, Dumbo, don't nobody go to Dumbo. Well, sure enough, 9 months later, he's in Dumbo doing a photo shoot. I have, promoted myself and moved on to another position and I, got a higher paying position, 20K more, leading staff. And Face tells me he found our shop, and it's in Dumbo, and it's literally like 20 minutes away from me walking. So I was like, ooh, look at God. And we put down our down payment, and within 3 days, we put down a down payment. And within 30 days, we opened our shop. And that was the beginning of now. you know, that was how it all started. So now we are in a space where we've moved from a 100 square space in Dumbo to an 1,100 square foot space in City Point Mall, formerly known as Albee Square Mall. And which was home to Black and Brown businesses when we were growing up. So, we're keeping that legacy alive. And we also host creative workshops, business panels, live performances. We have our biannual festival, the Black Creatives and Culture Market, and our annual festival, Dear Summer Vibes. And we're just trying to keep creating for the culture and create space for the culture, because it's important to magnify our voices and our work. So
Okay.
that's what I do.
That's what she does, and she continued doing, like, and then speaking and pouring into different people. Like we gonna touch on that later on. But there was a thing that you just said, which was stranger cell. Like stranger cell. I'm like, I was
Mhm.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, because I felt like when I had the the piece in your space,
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, somebody bought it. It's like they don't know me, but
Right.
it's that affirmation. Like, yeah, okay, I'm doing something right. Like,
Hmm.
if you build it, they will come. If you create it,
Hmm.
they will buy. Oh,
Yes. If
okay.
you create it, they will buy. And there's always a customer, right? Someone is always going to like your work, especially when it's authentic and you do it yourself. So,
Right. Okay. So, yeah, see, look, okay. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand. Thank you so much for sharing your brand. Like every time I hear it, it's just like, wait, more. Like it's just like more things just develop. It's like, okay, yeah. It's like an onion. You know how I said I'm
the
a,
onion, the layers. I know I never tell the full story every time. It's like, here's another piece you didn't know. So, yeah. Hmm.
which is great because that's how you get to know a person a little bit more. I don't need to know right off the back your entire story.
Hmm.
Let me
Hmm.
discover you, which is
Yep.
it's the best.
And
Okay.
there's more. Hmm.
Right. Okay. So let's get back to the topic, which is
Hmm.
how to market and gain sponsorship. We know that you're like one of the queens of sponsorship and marketing. yourself and your brand and other brands, uh,
Mhm.
why why are marketing and sponsorships important to a business?
Well, marketing for one is your presentation, your branding to the world, right? It's the way that you tell your story, it's the way that you present your brand on social media. Um, it's the visual, or the thing that will make people remember who you are. So that is what you want to do. I always tell people, like, you can have the best website in the world, but it doesn't matter if people don't know about it. Or you can have the best products in the world, but it doesn't matter if people don't know about it. So you have to market yourself, right? And that comes in the form of like having a website, having a social media handle, or a social media page for your business, being on Google Business, connecting with, you know, and now I don't know why you made that face, but I'm
I
like, do
mean,
I need to
hey, 'cause
remind
I'm
you to
not
be on Google Business?
listen.
So
Okay,
that people know
I'm
they can
taking
book
notes.
appointments with you, sis. Like, let me know.
I'm
But yeah, having your brand in marketplaces or on platforms that are relative to the brand, so that people know that you exist, right? Because you have to acquire new customers. So that's one part of it. And then sponsorships, depending on what type of events, or, mainly events that you're having, you want to make sure that you can align with partners who are in agreement with your mission, or who support your mission. And you have like a dual, not a dual, but yeah, you have, a shared vision, or a shared values, right? And you also want to be financially smart, right? Because sometimes when you're having these events, obviously they cost money. So the smart thing to do is to, get sponsorships if possible, so that you can offset those costs and you can bring your vision to life with the right people in your corner.
Oh, see, look, I'm learning. I'm like, okay, Google. All right. So we have just witnessed Karen is not all there, but
She will be.
yeah, exactly. I will be, and it's like a learning process,
Hmm.
and this is why we're here, because braiders like myself, we are braiders. We just braid, and we are not thinking about the business part of it. We're not thinking about how do you market a braider, like, okay, down the block, like, do you want braids? You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as
Yeah.
you walk out the street, you'll walk past an African shop and be like, want braid? Like, that is
Yeah.
the level of marketing that they have. So this is
Hmm.
completely different, like turning your business or braiding business or any type of business into something that you can market and get sponsorship for when you're doing events. So thank you.
Hmm. No problem. And I'll say word of mouth is the best marketing, right? When people can refer you and share about the awesome experience that they had with you, that's the best form of marketing and the freest form of marketing. Like,
This is true. This is true. Gather
hmm.
and collect testimonials. Um,
Hello.
and then like the word of mouth for real, because that can make or break you depending on what type of service you're giving.
Hmm. Exactly.
So make sure you're giving great, great quality.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so now, what are major steps to take in making a sponsorship deal, or yeah, creating the sponsorship deal?
Well, the first major thing you want to do is have a pitch deck, right? You put together your sponsorship deck. That's the first thing. And it depends, like if you're having an event, you want to have your sponsorship, you want to build a sponsorship deck for that event. So that's laying out the, event name, who we are, what we do, the vision for the event, what it's about, really, the activations or the different components of the event. And then what is your ask? How much money do you need? And when you ask for that ask, what will your sponsor get in return that is of value to them, right? The sponsor knows what they need. And sometimes they might not realize what they do need, but most of the time they know what they need, right? So you need to think like when you're when you're researching sponsors, again, researching sponsors that align with your event and your mission, and you align with their mission, because most sponsors have like social responsibility clauses or initiatives, social impact initiatives, etc., funding for these things. So you make sure that what you're doing aligns with what their goals are for their business, and show your value to them. How am I, if I'm asking you for X amount of dollars, what does that give you as my sponsor? That can give you access to exposure from all of the people in my network, for me marketing to my, network on social media, to all of the people who are a part of this event, also marketing to their network on social media, their networks on social media. That's very powerful, right? And then aside from that, though, that's branding. Like, you can put branding, that's marketing, and then you can have their branding and, on the assets, have their branding on your website, have their branding on in the space, in the location. But then some sponsors, for higher prices, you offer them opportunities to speak to the community, opportunities to speak, or to host a workshop, or to, have an activation, to give out um, promotional material, whatever it is that they have in mind. You have a conversation and see what makes sense for them, or you set that up, and then you can make an option where it's customizable, where, for a certain amount, you pay me X amount of dollars, and you can have a dancing pony show if you want to. Not really, but you can do what you can make something that means more to you, right? So those are like some of the components that go into a sponsorship deck. And then also, you want to make sure you cover your demographics, your target audience, your traction. Show your history of what you've done in the past. And yeah, that's like pretty much the short version of what the sponsorship deck would look like. And then you shop it around. You submit it to your different potential sponsors. Most sponsors ask for at least 90 days notice. Unless you have like a relationship with the sponsor, then you can probably get past those 90 days. But you really want to be ahead of the game. So this means planning ahead of time.
There you go. So that's
Mhm.
3 months. 90 days equals 3 months.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Like, I have literally 2 or 3 days before I have to submit my next sponsorship to certain, companies that I want to work with, because some companies, it might not even be 90 days from the day of the event. For some companies like Bank of America, they want you to submit sponsorship before you go to press, or TD Bank, one of the two. They want you to submit sponsorship before your first press release. So that means that they want to be in the press release, for your first press release. They want to be a part of the first press release mention, which means if you have an event, let's say May 17th, right? What month is this? This is March.
March.
Right. April. So February, March, April, May. February would be typically when you would submit your um pitch deck, your sponsorship deck. However, if your event is May 17th, you're probably going to go to press 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks before that, right? So you need to give yourself 3 weeks before that
Mm.
May 17th date. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about like beginning of February, ending of January.
Yeah, so like January, you want to be able to submit. And realistically, if you have relationships with these brands, then you want to submit to them your deck, or your deck for not just an event, but if you have a good relationship and you have several events throughout the year, you want to submit your deck at least by October the year prior, so that you can be on the top of their mind for their future planning, because they all have budgets. They allocate, most companies start figuring out what their budgets will be for the next year during the last quarter of the previous year. So, and they also see what money that they have that they did not spend down that they're going to push over to the next year. So, you send your deck in, now you can have some money earmarked for you for your events, and then they can say, okay, in this quarter we have X amount to play with, so we can give you X amount.
Okay, so it's just basically plan ahead.
Plan.
You know, listen,
And
listen.
I'm terrible at it sometimes, but I'm like, because we procrastinate. I don't even think it's procrastination. Like, we just get stuck in the details sometimes.
Stuck in the detail, and then it's like you get so excited about doing something that you have to do it, and then it's,
Hmm.
wait, we don't have the time to do this.
Have the time.
Then we stress ourselves out, and then okay, let's do this better. So it is like it's pros and cons to not being prepared, because it just prepares you on, oh, okay, this time we'll do it a little better this time, like so.
Hmm. Yeah, but I'm like, you don't want to be in the position of like, dang, I could have had XYZ, but I didn't, finish this in time, which I've been in that position. But it's also like, sometimes for me, I overthink when it comes to my sponsorship deck. Sometimes I'm doing similar thing every year with some new components added. But what I've learned is you just need to have a base of, these are the things that you're gonna do. Like, if I know I'm gonna have a marketplace, I know I'm gonna have performances, those are the base items, or art show, whatever. Those are the base items. And then we can build upon. So you don't have to disclose. I won't say you don't have to disclose everything, but sometimes some new things may come up that will be a part of the event. So
Right.
instead of trying to plan it all in one sitting, plan the major parts of it, and then whatever added on is a bonus.
There you go. It's just be flexible, like,
Mm-hmm.
because things will be thrown at you during planning and just anything, but it's just kind of like, what is the end result? And when you get that and you're just like, wow, I did it. Okay, get back to the drawing board. What are these sponsors looking for? What are we marketing, and who are our target market?
Who's our audience? Yeah, our target audience. Yep. Who's the market that we're going after? Is that the market that they're interested in?
That part. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what marketing strategies and tactics should new business owners use to expand? I think we kind of touched on that, but I think the part is like the strategies, because a lot of people tell us like we got to do this, market this, or get the sponsor. It's like, how?
Well, you're saying to expand, or to expand your business, your business reach?
Yes, the reach.
Okay. We haven't touched on advertising, right? So marketing, of course, I said, is like presenting, how you present your brand, how you share what you do. Advertising is how you know, get your audience to know about your business in certain ways, right? So like, advertising would include, like, I utilize from time to time Facebook ads, face or Instagram ads. Why? Because millions of people have their phones in their hands, and they are just clicking away. And again, I say, you can have a website. Having a website is marketing. But if people don't know your website exists, which would be through advertising, or sharing, through that word of mouth, or through advertising, like running Google ads or Facebook ads, social media ads, so they know, hey, I have a product, you should come over here to, purchase it. Then your website is parked, you're paying Shopify that $29.99 a month, plus whoever knows what other apps you're paying for, and you're not making money, right? But yeah, I find that we need to tap into advertising, and not just with online ads. There's also print media, if that is something that you're interested in. There's people who have paid for television ads or radio ads. I don't know if you remember. So Dana Chanel, who owns Curl Bible, you know
Hmm.
what I'm talking about? Her dad was Mr. Magic, or you remember that hip hop clown, the guy who's
Yes,
like, I'm Mr. Magic, you know, like
that was
every minute that
throwback.
was good advertising. Like, and he had something like in Brooklyn, you know, around the way where you could go to the events or what have you. And all the kids wanted to go to it because they would see the little commercial that might have came on around midnight because it's a cheaper time slot. But you know, it definitely like stuck in your head. That was smart. And you don't really see us doing that a lot, you
No,
know. Yeah, but it definitely is a good avenue. When I think about our brand, our festival, I'm like, okay, well, how much would it cost for me to advertise on these stations? Oh, okay, it costs like $1,500 for a 30-second slot. But then you repeat it a few times. Okay, well, you know what? Because I know you've got all these listeners, you know, that might be a good investment rather than me, you know, spending it over here. So
right,
that's one way to like, you know, get your brand name out there and to expand your reach.
right. Okay. Since you mentioned magic, the thing with what is it? Just for me, right? Like I feel like kids are where everybody, the ice cream truck, like they just go
Hmm.
like, oh,
That Django Django.
yeah. And you're just like, okay, let me just go for it because the kids want it and they're not going to stop until they get it. So
Yep.
it's like, in order for you to get to the parent, you really just got to go to the kids. And I feel like that's what a lot of people market. Just, yeah. And
Hmm.
also educate. Well, you kind of touched on the next question would have been, what is the difference between marketing and advertising? So you just
Hmm.
basically covered that in a nutshell. So I will not ask that. I
It's
won't.
all right.
Were
But I
you
was
gonna mention?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, when you think about it though, even as an adult, so when you come to marketing and advertising, you definitely want to do something that's memorable and emotion triggering. Because even as an adult, when I hear the ice cream truck, I'm like, ooh, it's the ice cream truck. And sometimes, you know, I don't want any ice cream, but sometimes like, oh, I feel like something, and you know, you have to run out within a certain time where you're gonna miss him because he's gonna go down the block and that's it, you know, or you don't want to chase him. So I'm like, you hear the jingle coming and you like eyes open, you get your purse, you're running out the door, you're like, the ice cream truck is here, you know. And I'm like, they done got us. They done got us from when we were children and trained us up to grown age to be on alert for when you hear, you know, that jingle and you know what that means. So
Right.
that's great marketing.
It is because you know you'd be like, hey, here's a dollar. Like you know, you're like, here's a dollar. Go
Mhm.
downstairs, get me a thing, and you're
Get
now
your coin purse.
you're carrying like what is it, 4 ice cream cones back.
Hmm.
Like it's just yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
But it
But to
brings,
touch on, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say the joy, like you were saying, like the emotions, like
Right.
what ice cream does for us. But go ahead.
Triggers, yeah. To touch on for strategies, you know, expanding your reach, other things you can do is build partnerships, right? So like how we build partnerships and we share audience and we do events together. That's another way to grow your brand and grow your name, grow your audience, grow your reach. And also, when you have, let's say, media opportunities. So some people have PR. I say God is my PR. I don't have a PR person, but you know, opportunities have been coming to us all the time. And that's mainly because my partner always says, when you build it, they will come, right? You know, you've heard that saying, build it and they will come. And so when you have something of value, you build something of value and you build something significant and you're doing the work and it's good work, people will see it and hear about it and they want to know about it. You also want to have a story that also helps to, you know, get your to build your audience and get your or it really helps to strengthen your brand and you know help you develop your reach even further once people hear your story and then share it. Authenticity, organic, I love those words and those actions when it comes to business. Like
Yes.
I always feel like, the things that we never had to run after are the ones that come out the best. And I would say 98% of our marketing and publicity have been those that came to us and not anything that we've gone after, which has always turned out to be best because then people want to know. They genuinely want to know about you, just like you genuinely want to know our story. And they genuinely want to share that with their audience. And that is more impactful,
Right. Listen. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna just tell you this story real quick about my brand. I did it with a model, and
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "Yeah, we gotta put it." I was like, She was like, "You just gotta pay XYZ." I was like, "I don't want to pay to be on someone's page. I'm like, I want it to be authentic. Like whoever's gonna find me is gonna find me. I don't care how long it's gonna take.
Mm-hmm.
When God says yes, I'll pop off. I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "No, we'll do it." I entertained the idea. I was like, "Okay, we'll go half on half." We paid for it. When I tell you that did not get it, I think it probably got like maybe 10 likes. Like
Mm,
it was on a whole that page, right? And I was
right.
just like, see, my gut told me like that wasn't gonna do nothing. And I posted the same piece that she had on, and I had it on myself in front of a mirror, and I took a picture and I posted on my thing, and I just was there like, this is, like I said, hair, skirt, just regular. It wasn't professional. That went semi-viral, like on my
Mm,
own page,
right. 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 Right.
and I was just
Right.
that was confirmation of God saying that you were right to go
Mm-hmm.
for the authentic route because
Mm-hmm.
what you doing don't need gimmicks. Like I don't need to be like, I'm gonna attach myself. I'm okay with where I am when I am and celebrating people when they do theirs because I know it's coming from me. And
Right.
it's just and I feel like that also helps with the spiritual part of like just be genuine for other people, partner, work, and just allow them to shine when they are shining. Yeah, shine together. Like it's just like,
It
right?
is. And bless them. I find that so two things. One, I had been tempted in the past, like, oh, we gotta go and share our story with this one or that one, and my partner would be like, nope, 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 like, don't run and tell them, because then you devalue your story when you running and telling it like that. You know what I mean? Like when they come to you, there are things that we don't share that's like pertinent part of the business story. We're leaving it for the book. We're leaving it for the time. Like, you remember Pat McGrath? Is that her name? The makeup lady, the makeup woman, the black woman who popped out like 2 3 years ago with like a $6 billion valuation of her business. Everybody was like,
Yeah.
who is sister? Do you remember? She's from London, I think. She's from the
Yes.
UK. Yeah, but there was a lot of people in the makeup industry who knew of her, knew her story and all that, but a lot of us didn't know about her, right? And so when we found out, but we did know when we heard that her company was valued at 6 billion, then we knew about her, right? So it's like, and then you find out more about her story, right? And so now it's like, that's the time when you want to tell the good stuff about your business and your brand, because now it's even more valuable.
Right.
And you want to be smart about that. So that's one thing. And then you had said something else. I was trying to like take a mental note. I should have wrote down notes, but you
What?
know,
What part?
I'm
What
trying to
part?
remember because I'm trying to remember there was something. So when we were talking about like the publication you went after, oh, here's another tip I wanted to share. It's very important that you build your own audience with your own platform, right? And when I say your own platform, that could be your mailing list. Simple. Because you know the story of Faso, right? Where Instagram had shut her down, I think somewhere around June when Milan was happening. Milan Fashion Week was happening,
Mhm.
and they shut her down for 6 months. And she tells this story too. So, mind you, your business is on another platform, right? And she had her own fashion blog where she was reaching her audience. Remember, she had fashion.com where she
Yeah.
was reaching her audience and doing all the things. And then she was focusing more on reaching them through social media rather than on her own platform. This is what I believe this is how the story went, right? So
Mhm.
now here comes Instagram for whatever reasons that are not my business, shutting her down for 6 months. She doesn't have access to her audience anymore, right? And you were using that platform to sell to people to promote their
Promote.
brand.
Yeah.
So now you lost some of your money as well, right?
Mhm.
Now they didn't give it back to her till December, which was like a Christmas gift, right? Like I'm just like, but the whole point is it's like there's 6 months of lost opportunities, revenue, all the things. And because you made your business bigger on a platform that was not your own, that could be yanked from you at any time. And it's a lesson for all of us that as we're growing our brands, we always want to be mindful that we are directing people. And something we have to keep doing too. We have like 20K followers. I'm like, we got to remind people to sign up for our newsletters so that we can make sure them 20K people that are following us, no matter what happens where we go, we always have them with us, you know?
That's perfect. That's even a word for being your own boss, that
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, because working for someone else or having a business, working in a business or as an employee, a lot of people used to say to me like, "Oh, it's very secure." Like working for, I'm like, that is not secure. Like working for yourself is the best, is the most secure, only because if you do not work, you do not eat.
Right.
And it pushes you because you're like, I have to do this. But if you're waiting for somebody else to sign your check or tell you when to use the bathroom, whatever, it's
Yeah.
just you're walking on eggshells. Like you got to make sure what they like, what you're doing. Things like
Hmm.
commission come. Hopefully they're not going under, and then they'll just like start laying off people. Like,
Like what's going on right now.
oh,
Right. And then you gotta like fight for a dollar or two raise, depending on what type of work you know, for some people it's a dollar or two, for some people it's five, like, you know. But I say the only thing that's certain are taxes and death. And that's real. Right. Because even in entrepreneurship, things can be going great for your field now and then not so much. Look at the tech sector, like what's going on right now, right? You've got, and the banking, I won't even say and the banking, but it looks like and the banking as well, because you've got because you have these, when we look at SVB, right?
right,
If people don't know about the Silicon Valley banking situation, because they put their a lot of their money in assets that were Fed backed, because of low interest rates. They had low interest rates that was of great value to them. Now they had to sell their portfolio at a 1.8 billion loss because of the inflation rates. I'm sorry, of the interest rates inflating, right? So now the company is closed. Right? They're shut down, bad management, all the things, but they're shut down. And now you see another bank has gone through this, and now we hear Credit Suisse is also
mhm,
going through this, right? So one, the people in the tech field, it's like, they're used to venture capital money, they're used to being able to crowdfund or have, not crowdfund, like get investors and do IPOs, but you can't do that if interest rates are high. It doesn't make sense. So now they're going through an issue in their sector. And now the banking, who have purchased, these assets or what have you, who have purchased assets that are linked to this interest rate, are also going through their issue, right? So it's like you always have to, as an entrepreneur, those are like institutions, right? Or even for the people who are startups in the tech field. But as entrepreneurs, we always have to be ready to change, right? We have to be ready to adapt to the challenges and figure it out, you know? So, because it's not, we don't know how long. We hope that things will be sustainable. Or with the pandemic, we've seen legacy businesses, Century 21, um what's the place my mom loves, Ann Taylor, like we've seen businesses like these shut down, you
Yeah.
know. I feel like Models,
Yes,
like,
listen, like that was my place.
right.
I was
You
like,
know,
I'm
I would
a
always go to
customer.
them. I'll go to them for sneakers and like my little tennis racket, little random stuff. You know what I mean?
Jump
But
rope. I'm like,
the jump ropes, I go to them for my athletic stuff. Now I gotta go to Target. I love Target, but you get me, like, you know, these, even there was this place called Flying Tiger across from us that is from Denmark. They were selling their stuff off for 50 cents. I was like, well, damn, because you know, when you have overhead and all these things. Anyway, we're like a little off topic, but the whole point is, even when you have a business, you got to be mindful and always be thinking about, you know, different streams of income through your business model, and be adaptable and flexible and ready for change, because it might not, like, while we relied on selling clothing and consignment, if your store is closed, that's not so easy, right? So we had to be online, or we scaled up our printing services, you know, to ensure that we were bringing in more money. And then we did our market so that we can have more exposure and bring more opportunities to the small businesses around us. So I
wow,
always think like nothing is safe, but you always have to be a few steps ahead and be aware and just pay attention.
that's the Brooklyn in us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very hustle
Yeah, it's a vibe
driven.
show.
Like, all right, I see what's happening. And I don't think we were too much off topic because in this world, if we're thinking about sponsorship or market, we got to know what's happening in the market.
Exactly.
What's happening? Where's the money coming from? And if we're
hmm
asking for sponsorship or money from companies and stuff like that, are they tied to these businesses that's going under? Like,
Are they going through their own stuff too? Right? Like
so
they
we
laying
can be
folks
like,
off too.
like,
Like
do you have $40,000? And they be there like, did you not see what's on? Because then
we
it's
just
like,
laid off everybody. Like, you know, like no, we
then
can't
they'll
make
be like,
payroll. Like,
exactly. So then they'll be like, well, you're not really doing your research. So you want to make sure that you know what's happening around the world, especially when it comes to money or support, partnership, all of that extra stuff. Do they still exist? Like you need to know these
yeah.
things.
What are their challenges? But closed mouths don't get fed. So you could still
Sure.
put your pitch deck in and be like, hey, and maybe they might have to do a lesser amount. Okay. You know, but you do want to pay attention to, you know, the trends and the news of what's happening in your industry, and to whomever is related to your industry that you want to work with, so you know what's going on. Because
Perfect.
you don't want to be that person like trying to hit, you know, I don't know. I'm like, I'm not gonna throw names out, but hit a company, you know, like, can I get this? And, you know, they're like, you know, we just had mass layoffs. Like, what?
You'll be like, are you
That's the least of our
on earth?
priorities.
Do you are you
Right.
on earth right now?
Like, what?
We're not doing it.
Exactly.
But again, closed mouths don't get fed, but just
hmm
stay tuned and in tuned. And you'll be good. Being authentic is key. So let me see.
Ooh, can I add one more thing? I'm
Yes, you
sorry.
can.
When I think about like the closed mouths don't get fed, a lesson for me was lowballing myself when I
Mhm.
did my first sponsorship deck, right? I just started like, I was like, even though, you know, I was like, even with a relationship and all the things, I was just like, I'm only gonna ask for this because I don't, but I'm like, really realistically, what you need to do is create yourself a budget, right? Create a budget for whatever it is you're trying to execute, and then be realistic with what it will cost you to do those things, and where you need, whether you need full sponsorship or you need partial sponsorship. But, you know, be aware of that. And then two, also make sure that you pay yourself, because what you're doing is work for these companies, right? You're taking off the lift from them so that you do that marketing for them, right? You put on that event for them. It's for you, but it's like they get to be a part of that experience and marketing experience to your audience, right? And there are administrative costs that go into that, right? Your time and all those things. So that's something that you should always factor in, be it like a 10% or whatever. You need to keep in mind when you're asking for your sponsorship dollars to allocate for the different parts of the sponsorship.
That's a good ad. And I'm gonna just question, send this question real quick off of what you just added was, when you're doing a sponsored a pitch deck, right? Would it be smart to have what it looks like for a full sponsorship and a partial sponsorship, like so they can choose? Would that be good?
Yes. I think like for some you can do you have your platinum, your silver, your gold levels. Or you can present them. I think you should always have the options. Do you always have to present the options? No. But if you present the options and you say, okay, I want this person specifically to have platinum, and you give them platinum, and they're like, we can't do platinum. Do you have anything else? Like, all right, have gold, silver, and in kind and all the other things on deck ready to share with them. You know what I mean? And have that all in one space so they could see what their other options are. You should always have the other options prepared. And sponsorship is not just financial sponsorship, it's location, right? Space.
Yes.
So City Point, they give us location sponsorship. There's in kind. So McBride Sisters, they would give us um wines, bottle of wine or what have you, bottles of wine for our events when we, ask for sponsorship. Or you have what's the other thing? Uh People sometimes, right? Where there'll be a sponsor by providing the human capital, or not really human capital, but
Research.
providing the resources, people on the ground to help you the day of the event. So there's so many ways in which that can shape out.
Right. And then also media sponsorship.
And media sponsorships and technology sponsorships, swag bag sponsorships, like all the things,
Just
all the
name
things.
it. There's something that somebody can sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
So just be mindful of that. I think we covered almost everything. And the thing is really good tools that you shared. So I'm gonna be like,
Thank you. Thank
put it in my
you.
notes. So for you, I'm gonna skip the next question because we already answered it. Do you have any favorite tools, resources that have helped you in your specific journey as entrepreneur?
Wow. I so QuickBooks is one for sure. I like to watch the money, look at the numbers and see what the trends are trending, what they're saying. For retail, Shopify, I love. For website building, I actually prefer Squarespace, dun dun dun, more than Shopify right now. Yeah. I love Shopify for retail, but for like because I had to build an event website, I'm in love with Squarespace for that. It took me 2 years for some strange reason to figure it out, which is weird. I don't know what was going on. But finally it was like, oh duh, just drop and drag. It wasn't even that hard, which is so weird for me. I'm like, maybe it just wasn't the time because it was the weirdest mental block. So weird. But anywho, so that I love Square in terms of in-person retail technology. Um I also use basic things like Excel and Word. Like I'm just very old school. And I'm trying to think. Like I really, other things that I subscribe to are like DocuSign. I keep that on deck because when you're signing contracts and all the things, you can have Adobe also to sign. But I'm like I like having DocuSign for creating my contracts and sending it over to folks. Um and I'm trying to think like
It's
I'm
okay.
like I don't know. Like my best tool is my laptop.
Oh, there you go. Get you a laptop.
Get you a laptop. But like I do everything on the internet. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Before we wrap up, I'd like to ask my guests a few questions to just end on a positive high. So I have three. Three questions. What is your favorite go-to braid style and why?
Ooh.
Is there, well, is there a book that you can remember that you can recommend that would be great for starting entrepreneur? And
Okay.
are there any products, projects, or events you would like to give us the tea on? Those are the three.
So, favorite braid style. I love cornrows. I love when you wear cornrows. It's so cute, but I never feel like I could pull it off because, like,
Girl,
we both have round faces, but I'm like, my face be like extra round. So I'm like, nah, I
you
can't do
can pull
it.
it off.
Like,
You
nah, but I love cornrows. I'm like, that's my style. My braid style, though, I do like, I have my crochet styles. Like, I love, those looks as well. Um, Book. You know what's a really great book that kind of makes me keeps things in perspective for me? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a oldie but a goodie.
Yep.
And, four houses in a hotel, right? Is one of the things that he teaches his or the young man says he learned from his rich dad. And that's really about, God bless the child that owns their own, because the rich dad had purchased four properties on the same lot in Hawaii. And that turned out to be the first Hilton, I believe, right? Either the first Hilton or the Hyatt, because he bought like there were four houses and he bought each one of them. And then once the Hyatt came around, they were like, we want to buy these places. And they made that the space where they started. So property ownership is definitely important, but it also makes you think about, growing your money and building your wealth and all of those things. But another book I would recommend is You're a Badass, because um, being an entrepreneur, you definitely want to remember to keep your confidence and, you know, um, know, just remember who you are and, move forward with that mindset. I'll also recommend The Secret. I know you said one book, and Purple Elephant. Like, and I know I have
Listen.
other books, but I'm just like, these are great books. Purple Elephant is good for marketing too. And then the third question, what was the third question again? Oh,
Are there
projects.
products, projects, and events that you would like to give us the tea on?
Yeah, so we have an upcoming event for Women's Month, a dinner that we're hosting. The spot is hosting, excuse me, for to honor women in our circle for, Women's History Month. And we want to make sure that, everyone are given their flowers, just like a flower shower. So excited about that.
Yes,
The
yes.
other event, yeah, the other event is Juneteenth. So we're having our Black Trades and Culture Market for Juneteenth, probably the 16th through the 19th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. starting on Saturday, but we'll have an evening event on Friday and focusing on a music stage because it's Black Music Month. So we really want to, celebrate Juneteenth and celebrate music in African American history, really of the diaspora, and just make a really great weekend for the culture. So those are the two major things that I'm working on. I also have this fashion show I'm doing with the Knicks on the 24th. Yeah. I feel
That's
like I shared this with you.
yeah.
But
Wait,
yeah,
I gotta get
I
in.
dropped it in I did. I'm like, I told y'all, I was like, here, I'm doing this. Here's a link for invitation.
I mean,
So it's
but
a
it's so
fashion show.
many. It's so many.
Huh?
It's so many
It's a
dope
few
things.
things. It's a few things. It's like, so fashion show with the Knicks on the 24th. And then the pop-up with the Knicks on the 25th. And Brooklyn United this Saturday. They're having Battle of the Bands at Queens College, so I'll be popping up there too. And we just finished, and you were integral part of this, launching the 50th anniversary of hip hop for New York City with Beats, Rhymes, and Relief, and Ice-T, and Mayor Adams was present, and Ice-T was present, and it was all a vibe. So,
You know,
this year's, huh?
I have my sneakers and everything, and I was just like, I am here for this party. Like, I'm really
Mm-hmm.
okay. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, it was cool. I was like, that outfit you had too was cute. I was looking back, I was like, oh, look at the blue with the blue. That was on point. She was blue, I was red. So it was like, but this year is like, for me, I feel like my focus is to build more partnerships, community building, I'm sorry, business development, and just like expanding our printing services. So we've worked with Pernod recently, who owns Absolute and Jameson, the vodka companies, and vodka, and I guess Jameson is a whiskey, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think.
I don't.
I know. I'm like, I dabble, but I can't remember. I think Jameson is a whiskey, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so like, building with companies like that and Shark Group and just really like, trying to build that corporate side. So those are the things.
Right.
Those are the things.
Yes, and you've created an amazing group, Jesus. Like,
Yes, thank you.
I'd be like, oh, I'm learning, and it's like no words, like, right, like it's like, okay, like I don't know if it was Face that said build it and you would come, and it would come,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like you manifest certain things in your life, and it's like when it comes you realize other people are manifesting the same thing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, oh, this is the type of people I wanted to be around, and it's happening, and it's growing. So like partnerships and like what you said with developing more businesses and brands, you're already doing that like effortlessly
Yeah.
without even teaching. You're basically living, like, just you being doing what you're doing is teaching other people indirectly. They're just kind of watching like, okay, I guess I'll take
Take
notes.
note.
I'll take notes.
Take
um
note. It's funny because my for Yes I Am, my tagline is I am the brand, right? So everything that I'm saying I'm doing, I'm living. You know what I mean? And with the Hey Sis group, so that's a platform of about 25 plus women right now. Probably like, I don't know, maybe 27, 28, almost 30 by
it's
now.
growing.
It's growing, and it's really like these are women who I've met along the way, my friends, my associates who I trust, who I'm like, you have dope energy, one, and you're a boss ass businesswoman, excuse my language, two,
It's okay.
but you're a boss babe, like you're killing it. Um, or you have these great ambitions and I can see it and I support it. And so I want you to meet my friends. I want you all to meet each other because I'm sure you can like learn from each other, teach each other, work together. And I want to like, support each other. I want to be able to support everybody and then also have a community where we can support each other. And it wasn't really like to be, I think when I first built it, it was just like, I just want to be able to keep up with all the people that I love, right? That I really care about. And then I'm like, and have them be able to meet each other because they're so cool. And when I say, cool, like they're just really good humans.
Mhm.
And it just really grew. And I see like these partnerships coming out of it and these friendships coming out of it. And I'm like, yay, I love to see it. So
Your vision.
um yeah, it's pretty, and there's so much more for it where we can have conferences. We're having dinners right now, but like take it up a notch where we have a HASIS conference with activations and like different components to help encourage, inspire, and empower the ladies who are there. And they can also utilize their skill sets to encourage other women, you
Right.
know?
It's like it's just out of the blessing, more blessings just are birth, and it's just like, okay, we going our cups overflow,
Run it
run
over.
it over,
Yes.
and spread
Yes.
to others. Like it's just
Exponentially.
just done.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I
so
feel and I've always feel like when people are like, oh, you give away your time and information, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, when you bless people, when you like give, you know, authentically, I'm like, I do that because I'm blessed. I'm blessed in that, God has given us opportunities and such. And so I don't mind teaching other folks because the way I got here is because other folks taught me,
yeah,
right? I really didn't have to pay for my knowledge. I have friends that tapped into who taught me things. And I'm not the type to like hoard the information. It's all about making sure we empower our people and help them to grow, as leaders, as business people, economically. Let's close this racial wealth gap. You know what I mean? Let's do what we can do to each one, teach one.
yeah, and
So,
you're doing it. So thank you, Michelle.
mhm, thank
We're gonna be
you.
talking all day.
I
So,
know. I gotta go to work.
right, okay, so okay, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing how to market and gain sponsorship. So, and thank you for preparing because you covered questions before I even said it. So that made it easier for me. But before we wrap up, can you tell how people can contact you and how they can support you?
Yeah, so you can support me. First of all, thank you again for having me on your show, on this episode. It is a pleasure as always, to connect with you and just to support each other both ways. So I appreciate you. And also, I'm sorry, we have a book tour coming up this Friday with
Oh,
Karen and Jessica, like we forgot, right? This Friday at 7 p.m., right?
yes, yes.
Right.
I
Okay.
almost
Yes.
forgot myself.
At
I'm
the
like,
spot. So another big project, another big event that's coming up. But yeah, you can find me at the Spot NYC. Sometimes you can find me there, but that's at City Point, Brooklyn, 445 Albee Square West, the old Albee Square Mall. You can find me online at info@yesiaminc.com for mailing, or info@thespotnyc.com, or on Instagram at Yes I Am Inc., The Spot NYC, DASPOT NYC, and Facebook and LinkedIn, Michelle Cadore, and Instagram again, Yes I Am _Michelle C. I
yeah,
have many.
yeah,
Follow one, you'll find the rest.
there you go.
There
Like,
you go.
she's everywhere. See, that's the market.
All over the place, child.
You're gonna find her. You're gonna find her on Google and everything.
Yep.
All right, so
And Google Business. Yep.
look, I gotta work on mine. But it's not
Please
about
do.
me, it's about you. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for listening. It is your girl, Karen Tenard, and you are sitting and listening to Michelle Cadore. Thank you.
Thank you, girl.
Listen, such an amazing interview. To get more info, go to kaidetres.com/podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you got a lot from today. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and show back up. Okay, see you in a bit.